Okay, so welcome back to part two. I hope you enjoyed your quick little break. Uh, this is just a reminding slide that we just click through all the defaults, of typical defaults, like talking with friends that you normally see, and now we're going to work through how to change these defaults to healthier defaults on the next slide. There is a three-step process to change those defaults. And we're going to work on switching them to actually healthier defaults that will help reduce your obesity and reduce or prevent childhood obesity. We're going to accomplish this by following these three steps over here. First, we'll identify your current defaults. Second, we're going to discover your preferred switches. And then finally, we are going to help you make those switches permanent by living the switches. So far, we've introduced you to the potential defaults like we just talked about. And this picture is a visual definition of what we are doing, which is taking the barrier of I can't and turning it into I can. So let's go about making some positive changes. We're going to do that by telling you how to identify your current defaults. So hopefully some of those defaults sounded familiar and they're firmly in mind because we are going to teach you how to identify your current defaults. The example we're going to use for this is food, just because it's the most obvious one. Step one is make a list of the default foods you eat at least 3 times per week. The example on the slides are fries, mashed potatoes, soda pop, and biscuits. The picture is a typical picture of a barbecue and sides, which is going to help illustrate other potential defaults that you may eat on a regular basis. So, how to identify your preferred switches. Step 2 is to identify those preferred switches. When it comes to healthier switches, you need to keep your preferences in mind. There are a lot of options out there, and if you've never tried it, you should try it at least once and make kind of an adventure of it. I personally like this little bit of ratatouille in the center right here. It's delicious, and the great thing about ratatouille is you can make it with your kids while you're actually watching the movie. The foods listed on this slide are green beans, water, apple slices, and a side salad. Now the question is how to make these switches happen. So you had your fries, and now you have these healthier fries, but how do you make sure that you're choosing these healthier options? Well, that is on living the switches. Okay. So once you've identified your defaults and your preferred switches, then you need to live those switches. So what do you currently eat? What do you want to eat? Make sure to ask yourself this before you start it. And then you're going to make 2 lists and shop or order only the healthier changes. The picture, like we were showing before, offers 2 question marks, but the real question is, which one are you going to choose? No worries if this sounds familiar. So far we've talked about this list is one of the essential tools you'll see in the seminar over and over again. So the foods listed are lists that we presented in the previous 2 slides, but now they're side by side. They are menu items from the same restaurants. The ones on the left are the typical default foods offered, and the ones on the right are items you could have ordered instead. You always have the power to make the changes, but hopefully now you realize that. To help you make future changes, we're going to help you learn what healthy defaults are. Okay, so to do this, you want to cross over and take circles, say instead of mashed potatoes today, I feel like green beans. Instead of soda, I want to do water. I'm going to switch biscuits for apple slices. Those are examples of the changes you can make. And just draw a little line and circle what you want, and then buy just those items to clarify. I want to drill that home because it's really, really important. You're going to hear it a lot today. So what is healthy? Everybody talks about it, but what is it really? And you can see the definitions provided. A healthy food is defined as one that is low in calories, fat, sodium, added sugar, and high in vitamins and minerals and nutrients. Healthy locations should include a lot of choices in their activities or menus. A healthy activity provides movement for a specific amount of time. A situation needs to be a positive and supportive environment to be considered healthy. And while all these components can lead to a healthier life, it can be difficult to apply those definitions in real life if you don't actually, like, it gets a little weird. I mean, what's vitamins, what's nutrients when it comes to actual food. So let's follow the road sign to a little insight to what these definitions actually mean. So, what makes food healthy? I left the more formal definition on the slide so you can see the direct comparison of the definition to the real-life definition. When people say high in vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, what they mean is that you should be looking for your meal to have colorful vegetables and whole fruits. For example, if your new default is a salad, you can make sure it has some dark green spinach, some bright yellow peppers, some orange carrots, some red tomatoes. These vegetables will help you keep your salad fun. You can switch it out as often as you want. Just make sure it's seasonal and you will save a ton of money. Whole grains, beans, and peas can also be a regular part of your healthy defaults. The picture over here shows a very bright array of colors. In case you were wondering what a visual representation of what this should look like, here you go. Okay, so what makes food healthy, part 2. When people say low in calories, fat, sodium, and added sugars, they really mean choose low-fat items such as milk and other dairy products. Mayonnaise is a terrible culprit. It's constantly put on sandwiches and burgers, and when it's cut out, it's rarely missed, but if you cut it out, it saves you a ton of calories and extra fats. Switching to low-fat milk is an easy way to cut some calories. Lean meats, chicken and pork tend to be cheaper than high-fat meats, and olive oil and canola oil can help actually reduce cholesterol. Soda, not pictured here, but it's guilty for those sugary beverages, and it's the typical example. Other examples that you may not realize you're doing when it comes to adding sugar is adding sugar or honey to cereals and beverages at home. What we really need to focus on is to make sure that what you're eating has a lot of nutritional benefit, just like we discussed. Okay, so to go deeper into this, we're going to give you some example of healthy foods. Okay, so some examples of healthy foods are right here listed. And this picture is interesting. I want to talk about it first. It provides a slightly more exotic array of fruit than you may have seen before. There's a yellow fruit right around here on the bottom left of this picture called star fruit. When you cut open it, it looks like a star. Fruits like this are more expensive than your typical apple, but it can take place of other less healthy treats because it is such a fun thing to do. You cut it open, it looks like a star, the kids get a kick out of it, and they're more likely to eat it. Sweet potatoes are not pictured on here, but they are another great example of a easy swap. They're a little whiter than yams. The yams kind of have that orange color. They have more flavor and nutrients than a potato typically. And those are just going to help you work with your family to embrace healthier defaults. Okay, so examples of healthy locations, because we need to do all the aspects of our lives. A healthy location is where you are. Likewise, a healthy location can be unhealthy based on your choices. The picture depicts a restaurant where a healthy-looking meal was served with iced tea, water, and multi-grain snacks. At home, this meal can be served on a paper plate, and it's still going to be healthy. You can cook several servings at one time, or microwave them at home, work, and school, so you can take them with you. At a restaurant, you might try and get the chips switched to a less processed whole grain option like brown rice to make this even healthier. And you can skip the tea and stick with your water, or go to the grocery store and have unlimited options. The goal is to begin changing our defaults by thinking outside the provided box. Okay, so examples of healthy activities. A healthy activity is movement that lasts for a specific time with a specific intensity. For example, a casual walk is unlikely to provide the level of intensity that you need to improve your health. Moderate activities like dancing, tai chi, bicycling, and sports are going to provide that necessary intensity and durations. The most important thing is to check with your doctor before you begin, especially if you already have health problems. And so when you begin, set a distance or a time and days of the week for the chosen activities and go for it. Setting new goals for yourself each week, no matter how small, will keep you moving forward. You can see on here there's lots of activities that you can try out, swimming especially during the summer. We're going to move on to healthy situations now. Again, healthy situations are what you make of them. So you can see on this picture that this family looks like it's having a good time, even despite the excessive looking portion size. This doesn't represent your family meal times. You might try shifting meal times or having more than 3 meals. Try not to make it a war. Have your children help cook and prep the meals, or let them pick what protein or vegetable you're having that night for dinner. You can try leaving the office, going outside for lunch. You can split a meal when you're going to coffee or lunch with a friend. And a barbecue or picnic can become super healthy by adding moderately vigorous activities such as lawn games, soccer, or football. An example of this is typically around Thanksgiving, where people go out and have a turkey bowl, which is always a good time. Okay, so I'm hoping at this point you've recognized some defaults that you have and are thinking of some options that you would like to try in place of them. I put this slide in as a complete guide to making those changes and making them permanent. To make the changes we want to make 2 lists, once again. One of the defaults you want to change, and the other one that includes the new defaults that you're actually interested in. Hopefully you talked about those with your family. Draw a line from the current default to the healthier one you think would switch it out best. And this can, once again, be done with your family. Next, write the healthier choices on a shopping list and only buy those items. This picture has a twofold purpose. It demonstrates the cost of unhealthy foods, which is often misinterpreted, but it also is a good example of what I mean by 2 lists. You have an unhealthy item and a healthier item, and so what we're going to do is circle the defaults and buy just that healthier default. So we have new healthy defaults that are going to keep us on track. So we're going to make these changes happen. Okay, taking on new foods is a challenge and is a great way to get your children to accept new foods. There's so many sources of information out there that if you find one that's weird, double check the information with the government website or with any of the seminars information just to be sure. Okay, I like the other options on this list as well, like switching fruit for sugar added dessert, like the cookies. For work, people can keep a cooler packed in the car and hit the grocery store instead of drive through on days you didn't pack a lunch. This is a new foods challenge, and you can take on this new foods challenge, and could be a great way to get your children to accept new foods, because that's one of the hardest things, is to get your child to accept those foods. And making a challenge, every kid likes a competition, so I'm sure we can provide you some ways to do that. If that's what you're interested in, just make sure to mention it during the activities portion. We'll get it done. Okay, so making changes to default activities. Instead of switching channels until your show comes on, you can do something active. Try riding your bikes to school, work or school. After school, you can stay active by participating in after-school sports programs or the gym. Limit electronic time to spending time with your family, making sure you leave enough time to get a good night's sleep. You can work out while you're waiting for your show to come on, but make sure to build up slowly every day, an outing per week, and you'll be an active family in no time. Making changes in default situations. Okay, so this is going to be splitting a lunch with a friend, adding stickers that your child has picked out to pre-portion healthy stacked meals to make them more appealing. Other things offer things other than foods or rewards to making healthy choices. This is a how to encourage kids to make their own lunches, and what they did was they took cookie cutters to cut out fun shapes that the kids probably had picked out, and that's just the way to keep things interesting and making sure what they like and exploring new options to keep your kids from getting bored with these healthier choices. So we're going to put it all together for a lifestyle change. Communicate with your family and friends. Learn what they like, what they see as suggestions to offer, discover what worked for them, what didn't. Involve your kids, and remember that this is not a race. Don't rush into new foods and don't give up on them. Remove the distractions at the family times, pass on traditions, and make new ones with your kids. Traditions can always be made. These are all tools to help you and your family work towards permanent healthy defaults. And I like this sign. It says, Make it a lifestyle, not a duty. So first, stay positive. This takes time, but if you'll stay with it, changes will come. Make use of the tools like stickers, free portion foods, non-food rewards are all great tools. Just remember, you are in charge, so you can put time limit on the availability, any reward offered. Practice over and over. You are not going to get this right off the bat. No one does. Just learn and grow and make it fun. And lastly, I love this quote by Albert Einstein. We can't solve the problems by making the same kind of thinking that we used when we created them. So remember, practice makes perfect. And now we're on to the activities. Before we do that, does anyone have any questions? And here are the references. And we have these all printed out for you that are ready to, you can have a copy of this, and we'll see you in the activity. Thanks and have a great day.